Okay, so let's talk about a huge shift that's happening right now. Forever, being smart has meant knowing a lot of stuff. But what happens when a machine knows literally everything? That's the big question we're going to dig into today as we explore a totally new way of thinking about knowledge in the age of AI.
Picture this, right? A student gets a pretty standard history question. What year was the Magna Carta signed? It's a classic knowledge check. But something's different now. She knows, that her phone could answer that perfectly in a split second. And suddenly the question doesn't feel hard, it just feels pointless. That one moment, it captures the tension we're all living in. What's the point of memorizing facts when a machine has already memorized all of them?
So to get our heads around this new world, we need a new way of looking at it. For centuries, school basically gave us a map, a fixed guide for a world that didn't change all that much. The goal was simple: memorize the map. But today, we need to learn how to build a bridge. A bridge is dynamic. It helps us get across a landscape that's changing under our feet. It's a huge shift from thinking of knowledge as a place you arrive at to thinking of it as a tool you use to build.
So let's dive into that first part, the obsolete map. For so long, education has been about handing us this guide to a predictable world. But what happens when the world just stops being predictable?
Well, that's exactly the problem we're facing. The ground underneath us just isn't stable anymore. With AI, whole industries can get turned upside down in a matter of months, not decades. So following an old map when the river's already carved a new path, that's not just a little unhelpful, it's genuinely dangerous. It gives you this false sense of security while leading you completely in the wrong direction.
See, the problem with that old map is that it's based on this flawed idea of what intelligence even is. We've all been taught that being smart is about what you can remember. But what if it's really about what you can do with what you know? This right here gets to the absolute heart of it. If we define intelligence as just storing and spitting back information, then we've already lost. The game is over, period. Machines are infinitely better at that than we could ever hope to be. But what if that's not what real intelligence is at all? Think about it like this. What's the difference between a cook who can just follow a recipe and a chef who actually understands the chemistry of cooking? The cook, well, they're stuck if they're missing an ingredient. The chef, though, they get it. They can adapt, they can improvise, they can create something totally new on the fly. That kind of thinking, that's what we need now. So, if we're not meant to be walking encyclopedias anymore, what are we supposed to be? Well, the answer is we need to shift our whole mindset. We have to go from being passive consumers of information to being active builders. We need to become architects and debuggers.
Let's start with debugging. In the old map world, a wrong answer was a failure. You get a big red X, and that's the end of the story. In this new bridge world, a flawed result isn't an endpoint at all. It's the starting point. It's just feedback. Debugging is all about taking that feedback and using it to get one step closer to where you need to be.
And here's the best part. It's a skill you can learn, not some magic talent you're born with. It's a pretty simple loop, really. You try something, you look at what you get back, you question it, you tweak your approach, and you go again. This little process, it builds resilience, and it's absolutely crucial for working with AI, which, let's be honest, often gives us answers that are almost right, but need that human touch to get them over the finish line.
And that brings us to the second role we need to play. Because right now, we are all swimming, or let's be real, we're drowning, in a sea of AI-generated content. Essays, art, code, emails, it's all created instantly. And it's so easy to just kind of float along with it.
But if you're just floating, you're a passenger. You're letting the algorithm decide where you go. The real power, now and in the future, belongs to the architects. These are the people who don't just take the output as is. No, they actively guide the machine. They ask better questions. They structure the problems in the first place.
So what does it actually mean to be an architect in this AI world? It's really about being the person who can look at a big, messy, real-world problem and break it down into smaller, logical pieces that a machine can actually help solve. You provide the blueprint, the AI provides the raw power.
Okay, this brings us to what might be the most important question of all. If machines are getting so incredibly powerful, what's left for us to do? What is our unique human edge in all of this? A machine is brilliant at finding patterns and getting you to a goal as efficiently as possible. But here's the thing, it has no idea what the goal should be. That's our job. We're the ones who decide what should matter. We're the ones who have to feel the weight of a decision and understand the very real human consequences that hide behind a perfectly optimized but totally cold solution.
This right here, this is our new job description. It's not about trying to beat the machine at its own game. It's about pairing its incredible strengths with our irreplaceable ones. We bring judgment to its logic. We bring empathy to its efficiency. That is the uniquely human contribution, and believe me, it is becoming more valuable, not less.
I love this quote because it just nails it. The point of all this isn't to become a better calculator than the calculator. The real goal is to use this amazing new tool to become better at what makes us human, our creativity, our critical thinking, and, yeah, our compassion.
So, where does all this leave us? How do we measure success in this new landscape? How do we even know if we're on the right path when all the old signposts are gone?
Well, first, let's be clear. That old map full of facts and figures isn't totally useless. Of course not. It gives us context. It tells us where we've been. But we have to stop treating it like it's the destination itself. Think of it more like a reference library, not an instruction manual for the future.
This slide really boils it down to a choice, doesn't it? The danger is becoming someone who knows the old way perfectly, but is completely stuck, unable to move. The goal is to become someone who has learned how to navigate the terrain, even as that terrain shifts and changes right under their feet. The future belongs to the navigators. And all of this brings us to one final, really crucial question. If what we actually need is a generation of bridge builders, of architects and debuggers, then what exactly are we measuring when we give them a grade? What do we need to change to help them get there?